Is almost up. I'm pressing go live on YouTube now. And we're live on YouTube. Hello, everyone. So I'm Henry from Starknet, and welcome to a new live coding workshop for Starknet. Today I'm joined by Maximilian Demitrazek. Hey, Max. Can I call you Max?
Yeah, Max is completely fine. Hi.
Perfect. So Max, you're working at Software Mention on Protostar. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
So, can you tell us in a few words what's Software Mention and what's Protostar?
Okay, Software Mention is like software agency. We in Poland call it software houses. And basically, we do projects for clients, but also we do our open source. We are mainly focused on React Native, which is like our main specialization. Also, we do video streaming related things. And from a year also, we have blockchain and Starknet, especially Starknet related projects as well. And we have multiple projects related to Starknet. One of these is a Protostar, which is a tool for testing and developing Starknet contracts with multiple features. It's kind of, if you are familiar with Ethereum, it's kind of Foundry for Starknet, and we are heavily inspired by Foundry. Other projects we have Scarp, which is Cairo1 package manager, which actually will be integrated with Protostar soon, but more on it later. And also we develop and maintain a couple of SDKs, Python SDK for Starknet, Swift, JVM, and that's probably it.
That's already pretty much. Thank you. All right, super cool. So, without further ado, you're here to present a live workshop about Protostar and Cairo1. We're all ears.
Okay, so I plan to do a short live coding. Not everything will be like present today is completely finished, but you will see.
And that's what live coding is for. We have these workshop every other week, and the goal is really for people to show what they're working on and have people on their end be able to follow along with their keyboard.
Okay, so I will share my screen now.
You are sharing your screen through your glasses, but it's hard to pick up the details.
It's hard to avoid it, yeah.
So you have a small icon at the bottom that says present. If you click on it, it will ask you share your screen. And then at this point, I'll be able to add it to the stream.
Okay. So we just need to pick the correct one. Give me a second. Okay. You should be able to add it right now.
You're in.
Okay. It's here it is. It's good size there because like
So what we're seeing is a lot of colors with a white rectangle in the middle.
Yeah, that's like weird because you shouldn't see that. I'm showing. Okay, I will just right now.
Aha, now we see a terminal that says project. It looks a bit laggy, but maybe that's on my end.
Yeah, it's a bit laggy on my end as well. Okay, but okay, what we want to do now, I want to show you how projects for Protostar in Cairo1 gonna look, and how basically go you through kind of how testing flow will change, because it will be kind of new. And if you are kind of used to the current Protostar flow, it might be weird. Okay, so we can start by creating a new project.
Hey, can I ask some question first before we start? So Protostar was written in Python, and the goal was for you to be able to write Cairo code and test it with Cairo code. Is this logic still going to hold with Protostar? Is it going to be still in Python? Will you write your test in Rust, in Cairo1?
So yeah, testing will be done in Cairo, and we're still keeping up with that. Cairo1 is much better, so it's even easier to do that. If we're able to do that for Cairo0, we'll be definitely able to do that for Cairo1, and I will still believe in this because keeping everything in one language helps a lot in a lot of scenarios. And also, we modified our current flow to make it a bit more accessible to, for example, testing pure Cairo code, which is not Starknet related. But you will see that in a second, probably. But yeah, we are still keeping up with Cairo testing flow. It's the same. It's just like not everything is so focused on contracts right now. It's a bit more flexible, I would say. Okay, so so if I would like to create a new project, there is a command init, and we have right now we use some prefixes for Cairo1, and I think you can see everything. Okay. So we use some prefixes for Cairo1, postfixes and prefixes to right now distinguish comments, but those will be like in the future replace the normal like test comment, just like temporary because we want to focus like give users interoperability between like Cairo0 and Cairo1 contracts to make migration smooth, because a lot of people have like contracts written in Cairo0, and they probably cannot be rewritten in one day. Yeah.
Right now we're still seeing your terminal and it says Protostar init Cairo1.
Yeah.
Is that what you're showing?
I haven't worked. Yeah.
Okay,
so
sorry
use
about
right
that.
now.
It says EST. Oh,
okay. It's pretty problematic.
Your
because
screen is
see
very laggy. Your screen is pretty laggy. Yes.
Yeah, I probably.
Yeah, if you move your screen, your mouse,
Okay.
your mouse.
I'll try to move it regularly
Right.
then, because it probably doesn't update. Okay. So
maybe you
now
can try moving the window.
Okay. So I can try moving the window as well, but generally it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's not better.
Okay. I will just try to kill and move the mouse. Sorry, I cannot do that right now. Much about that. Probably my computer doesn't. Isn't capable of keeping up. Okay. So we can cd in the new project right now, and can open Visual Studio Code. And in a second, I will recreate that. It will be a bit easier, because I had one project which is named already like that, and it just created a new. Okay, I will make it once again and name it test1. Okay, never mind for that. We can go to VS Code. So it will open in a new window. Okay, so here it is. And we can see, like, if you are familiar with older version of Protostar or not, or any other like development framework or NPM or other languages, it's pretty something you can kind of intuitively see what is here. Like we have source directory, which holds our source code, and we have tests directory, which holds our tests. Also have Protostar config, which is pretty similar to old Protostar config. We also only have like few new things, which kind of let us support Cairo1 things. Okay, so actually it doesn't update, which is a bit problematic because I'm showing something different. Do you see like?
We can see VS Code, and we can see your
I opened
cursor
the file.
moving, so I think it's okay. No, the file doesn't show. It still shows welcome. Okay, I'm gonna try something real quick.
Right now it's updated. It looks fine. So maybe it still doesn't.
All right, let's see if this is better.
Okay. It still doesn't seem like it doesn't update like the window. I'm not sure what the reason is for that. But what I can try do is I can try to. Okay, right now it looks fine. Probably. No, it's still laggy. Okay, I will just go over how it is. probably can do much right now about that. Probably my internet isn't keeping up with everything. Okay, so basically, what will change? I hope it will update in a second, and you will be able to see that. Basically, old Protostar versions have been supporting. Have been writing contracts as tests as a contract. So you deploy. You basically, each test is like contract entry point. This won't be a thing in new Protostar because right now you'll just write. If you're familiar with Cairo1 test runner, you will be able to write tests just like Cairo functions, which are not part of any contract, which changes a lot of things. Because right now, you aren't able to directly access. Still haven't updated. It's a bit problematic because like you probably don't see what I want to show. Maybe if I try to stop sharing, it's okay if I do that and try it again. Maybe it will.
Let's try. Let's try.
Because it's a bit problematic. I can't show anything.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Yeah, I will try it here. And okay. It still doesn't go live, but at least you see the test.
Do you wanna try to move to Zoom?
We can try. Maybe.
Okay, so let's try this. So for the people watching us on Twitter, sorry, we're gonna stop the broadcast on Twitter, and for the people watching us on YouTube, I'm gonna try to reuse the same link, but maybe I won't be able to do so. If you want to follow, connect on the new live that will appear in the StarkWare profile in a few seconds. Okay, sorry, we'll be back soon in a few.
And maybe it will be. I don't know.
Let me see. All right. I think we should be back now. Let's see. Yeah, actually, I think we're live on Zoom now.
Cool.
It came back, did it? Hey, people in the chat, can you tell us if you can hear me? Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep. I can see people saying revolutionary technology. We are, I can hear myself. All right. I think you can talk now, Max. Yeah. So actually you can share your screen. Let me activate screen sharing. Boom. You should be good to go now.
Okay, give me a second and I will share my. Okay. My system preferences. I haven't used Zoom before. Oh, that's problematic. I will need to reopen. Give me a second.
You need what? Sorry?
I need to restart my Zoom because I'm unable to. Okay, it should be done. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
It works. Okay.
Nice. All right. This will be better. Yes, I can see your screen now.
Great. Okay, and you see our writing live or not? Do you see everything I show or yeah?
Yeah, we can see your screen correctly.
Okay. So do you see if you see
FDJ
right
line 8? Yes, we can see.
Great, amazing. Took some time, but yeah, it works right now. So yeah, coming back to the otherwise, it's kind of intuitive, I believe. So we have a directory of source code, a directory of tests, and config file for Protostar. And what it is, we can first check it out like our code. So right now, Protostar does not support Cairo1 contracts. We are working on it actively, and we will be supported in next 2 weeks. I will show you later how it will look. But yeah, we can see some Cairo1 code, and we can see the test file, which contains tests. And if you are familiar with older versions of Protostar, you can see tests aren't contracts anymore. So it's our testing, the test definitions is very similar to Cairo1 test runner. If you're familiar with like the one provided with Cairo1 repository. And it's basically just Cairo1 code. It's not executed by default in any way in kind of Starknet context. And this part works. Right now, you can, if you download Protostar right now and update it to 0.2 version, 9.2, you can test your Cairo code, which doesn't include any Starknet stuff. What you're working with now is to extend it to support Starknet-related operations. And I want to show you briefly how this is going to look, because it might be a bit confusing how we are going to support in this flow, like Starknet flow. So yeah, let's write some tests. Let's name it test contract. Okay, it's basically the same kind of test like the one below, but here we will be testing a contract. What we need first is a contract, because here in default Protostar template, there are no contracts. So I will create a directory and contracts. And I will create Cairo. Okay, great. So I will copy here some basic Cairo1 contract. And showing you briefly what it does, it basically has a balance storage variable and 2 external methods, which you can, one is to increasing balance and like one is to getting a balance, which just makes it a very basic and hello world Starknet contract. I hope it's like, but it isn't like pretty important what it does. It's basically only for presentation purposes. Okay, and if we have added a contractor to our repository right now, we need to define this contract in like in older versions of Protostar.
The extension to contract is wrong. It says Cairo instead of Cairo.
Oh, that's why I was wondering why syntax highlighting haven't been working. Right now it's perfect. Okay, great. So we have to define this contract in our Protostar TOM. So we can name it, for example, main or contract and contract A. And we need to define the path to the contract. Here will be contracts. And here it is. Right now, Protostar is able to find this contract, build it, which building is not currently supported or will be, and also is able to use it in tests. And how it's going to look. Okay, so let's write this test. And what we are going to do, we're going to declare and deploy this contract from this test. And then we invoke it to like see the whole flow. Okay, so how this is going to look? First, we need to declare it. Yeah, it's what we do with new contracts, because we cannot deploy a contract that's not declared. So we want to do it. We define a variable class hash, and we just call the function declare. and our contract A. Okay, and it should declare your contract. How is this magic works? Okay, Protostar has a custom fork of Cairo1 compiler right now. Long term, we'll be like just extending it. And we provide like external standard library with our custom functions, which are cheat codes if you like know it from older versions. And we'll still name it cheat codes. So this one Protostar will be able to interpret it and invoke underlying Starknet instance, which is like kind of hidden for user, and just execute this declare on this Starknet instance. Yeah, so basically it's declared. Right now, Protostar has something called prepare, which you might know. It's kind of a sidestep only for calculating the address. It allows to pre-calc the address of deployed contracts. It's sometimes necessary for some testing flows. So basically, it's prepare. It's pretty intuitive. And what we need to pass there is we need to pass the class hash. And we need to pass call data. But what is call data? It's an array. Cairo1 has pretty nice syntax for declaring arrays, defining arrays. So we can define this array here. And we just create a new array here. And we can, it's like what we pass to prepare is constructor called data. So we need to provide arguments to constructor. You can check in our contract. We don't have any constructor, so we can just pass an empty array here. And prepare seems kind of weird because it's not included in normal Starknet testing, like normal Starknet flow, because there's only declare and deploy, which deploy is done from contract. But it's a bit weird, but basically the use case is you can right now extract address from it. So it's sometimes useful, for example, if you need to want to pass this address.
So that's like if you want to send it money before you deploy it, if it's an account contract, for example.
Something like that, yeah, such scenarios. So you can know address before deploying the contract. But there is a bit tedious to do these 3 steps is deploy, but we have some nice shortcuts for that. I will show it later. Okay, and then we can deploy the contract finally. So it will be the same address as the one above, and we call deploy and pass the prepared stuff here. The call data will be like the same because it stores it. And here it is. Contract from Protostar test is deployed. Okay, but how do we invoke? How do we invoke it? It's also pretty simple because we just used invoke. And invoke takes 3 arguments. It takes contract address, which we have. Deploy. Also, we can take it from the one like prepared. We need to pass a selector. Here we are going to invoke increase balance. So we call increase balance, just pass a function name. And we need to pass call data. I'll name it differently, so it won't be a conflict with the previous name. But we define basically the same as we did before. Only right now, increase balance actually takes an argument. It takes the one felt. So we need to pass it to the invoke. And what we just do, we pass, it should be called data array, sorry. And we just call append in this array. So we add, for example, 5 to the array. It's only one felt as an argument, so we only pass it. And it will invoke the contract and execute this. Okay, maybe there will be a couple of questions about, because, okay, right now it's only one felt, so it's okay. But sometimes the arguments for methods might be a bit complex. So adding lots of elements and like maybe some more complex structures might be a bit problematic. But we have plans to introduce nicer syntax sugar for that. But it won't be included in the initial version. It will be like included later. So this is it. And
so when you run this, what kind of output does it give you? Like, how does it look like?
So basically,
does it just say it pass, or does it?
Right now it passes. Yeah. Okay. Cases. If you run this prepare, for example, or you can run invoke here. Yeah. If you run invoke is a good better example because you deploy the contract, and for example, you want to test if like with given data, invoke will pass. This one can panic if something fails behind, and it will fail the test if it fails. Yeah. So if it just like right now it won't give you any output because you don't want to have any output from tests. Yeah. You want to check it only passes or not. But for example, you're able to do it because it returns error from the called contract. So for example, if you want to specifically match for a specific error, you can do match invoke. And sorry if I don't remember properly Cairo1 syntax, I probably don't remember it properly. But you can basically check if, for example, it will return some error. It will be, okay, everything has very much on that. And basically, for example, it returns error, some error. We want it to fail. But for example, we want to test to, okay, if I explain properly, like we basically can check what error has been returned by a given method. Yeah. Okay. So you can test more complex flow here. But for example, if it fails, you can basically do error and pattern matching than any, and do a panic here, which is a bit more complicated to call because we also need to create an array for that. But also we can do an unwrap if you are familiar with Rust. It's a bit like you have to know Cairo1 to a bit understand those flows because it's kind of really Cairo1 and Rust flow. But basically, it gives a lot of flexibility. And basically what it does, it runs those cheat codes like comments on underlying start instance. So invoke doesn't give you any input, output. But for example, if you do a call, because call will also be similar flow as here. And if you do call, and of course call doesn't, for example, without call data, when you get balance, you can, for example, then later assert as x equals 5. Yeah. You have to unwrap it probably because it returns results. Yeah, but something like this. I hope it makes sense. Like, so it's basically
it does. Thank you.
Okay. So it's basically a kind of flow is more standard, I think, because old like test contract focused flow was a bit weird. Like it was kind of something taken from Foundry, but Foundry actually does it this way only because Solidity is not very good in being standalone language, yeah. And Cairo is much better than it, so we can leverage that and make much better flow and provide much better experience. And this is like a bit more understandable if you're coming from different languages because you're like your test is just a code and you operate on some like, you know, if you're familiar with PyTest, you operate on kind of fixture of Starknet. We kind of think internally about it like this. Yeah. So this is the flow. Also, it will be like this is a lot of code to just like deploy a contract. So if you're familiar with older versions of Protostar, there was something like declare contract, and it will be here as well. So instead of doing this tedious declare, prepare, deploy, we'll be able to just call.
So Robert is asking in the chat, do you still need to define the available gas for these tests at the top?
No, for test, you don't have to do this.
No, for tests, you don't need to. Nice.
At least for now. Maybe there was some problems with that later, because lots of questions we have right now are kind of open, but I don't think so it will be necessary. And we don't want to do, like, we don't want to enforce it to users, yeah, because it's like brings additional overhead. And for tests, you don't want to do that actually, because like, yeah, you kind of don't want to do that. And here we can just not declare, not deploy. To contract. And it does basically everything we did here. We only have to unwrap it, yeah, because it's like a Rust-like result. And it will panic if it like failed, yeah. So we can replace all of this with just this one. And it's probably more common scenario if you don't need some very high control upon things. Yeah, that's probably it in terms of demo. I can also tell about, because lots of people are using Scarp right now, which is also like our tool. And it's probably pretty important how those two tools will interoperate. Because right now, Protostar has its own very primitive method of managing dependencies with Git submodules, which is not the best one. And what we're going to do is basically Protostar will become Scarp test. So it will become an extension to Scarp. So if you run something like Scarp test, it's a comment in your terminal, under the hood will use Protostar. So everything Protostar has, Scarp test will have in the future. And you will be able to use, like, if you know, because Scarp has pretty nice dependency management, and it really shines in it. It's much better than Git submodules. It's designed specifically for that. So you'll be able to leverage very nice product structure of Scarp and like dependencies management of Scarp, and just like use Scarp to run Protostar, which will be like the testing machine behind. Yeah. So that's it. And anything I'm supposed to say about it? No, I think that's it. No, there are any questions or maybe?
Yep, there is another question. Fox CryptoBoss is asking what you're showing. Is it in 9.2 already, or is it still in development?
No, it's still in development. It's pretty far away actually, because we have like everything is like supported in compiler, only plugging it to Starknet level stuff right now. So
when will people be able to use this?
Few weeks.
Nice.
1-2 weeks, I believe, will be there. No, one probably is a bit optimistic, but 2 weeks, I think. If not major problems occur, because it's always like something might happen. But it's pretty close. So it's mostly development. It's like.
And will the flow to like, will you write scripts to deploy a bunch of contracts the same way? Will it be the same syntax, or will it be a different kind?
You mean like scripts from CLI? Yeah.
Yeah, like say I have 2 contracts and I want to write something where with one command I deploy these automatically. Will I be able to do it the same way?
Yeah, CLI will be like basically nothing will change there. Like CLI remains as it was. So you basically the whole JSON structures returned and the whole like bash CLI will be there. So nothing changed there. It only will add like new comments from Starknet CLI. Yeah.
Nice.
Or adapt it to it.
I had another question regarding Cairo1 being written in Rust. Is there plans for Protostar to move to Rust also?
Yes, it started like very modestly, and we are starting rewriting to Rust. We have lots of technical legacy technical stuff to go through, and like it's not easy to, because Protostar is pretty big at the moment. It's not like we can just like start it from scratch. But I think we have pretty decent plan how to approach writing into Rust, and it really seems from my side seems really executable and doable. I cannot promise the timelines on that, but we'll definitely, like, we are starting working on that, and we are really want to do that as soon as possible, because we believe like the biggest pain point right now in Protostar is the testing speed. Yeah, it's still pretty fast compared to other stuff, but like it's still biggest. Like it takes if you have bigger project, it takes a lot of time to test everything around the test, and we really want to improve that because it's
Very
critical
nice.
for dev experience.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, you mentioned Scarp, but did you explain how Scarp integrates in Protostar?
Yeah. Okay. So I hope. So basically, what it happens. I don't have anything prepared to.
No, it's fine.
Right now, but like if you have Scarp DOMO, I don't remember exact structure. So right now, those two projects have the same, like basically different configs. And the plan is to make Protostar DOM like completely obsolete. And if you're familiar with Poetry, they have something like tools. So you will be able to just basically define Protostar config inside the Scarp config. So it will be only one config for everything. And basically, when you want to run like tests from Scarp, you will just basically have to install Protostar, which is not determined how you will do that. So I won't be able to answer this question. But basically, you'll be able to use Scarp test or some like Scarp Protostar run tests through Protostar.
Nice. Because in the chat, Robert is asking how a user that worked with Scarp will transition to Protostar with their existing project. Will it be easy?
It will be very easy. We are really working on that. So I think like, right, like basically, if you have Scarp project right now, there's still a problem with Protostar using Scarp dependencies. And we have currently PR for that. And I hope like next week, what you only need to do, like Protostar, you will okay. So what will you do from next week? And it's pretty complicated. Well, we'll try to explain it properly in docs. And we are not very happy that it's that complicated, but it's really hard to transition between like so different scenarios. But basically, for some amount of time, Protostar will be able to already use Scarp dependencies. So if you have Scarp project right now, I believe next week or something like that, you'll be just basically Protostar will be able to read dependencies for Scarp TOML. So you'll still need Protostar TOML to configure Protostar stuff, but you will be able to like compile contracts defined and contracts and like Cairo code defined in Scarp and use it in tests. So basically Protostar will find your Scarp TOML if you have it and read dependencies from there. So it's basically like if you know old like Protostar Cairo path, it will basically extract this Cairo path from Scarp config. So it basically be effortless for user. And we'll make sure we'll document it properly because maybe what I'm explaining right now is a bit hard to understand. But no, it will be very easy. And we keep in mind that people started working on projects with Scarp, and there won't be much effort to do the transition.
Cool.
And that's probably all my side. If any other questions I can answer as well, if there are any.
Let me check, but it looks like we've covered most of them. All right. Well, Max, thank you for your time. Sorry for the difficulties in broadcasting in the beginning. And thank you for your work on Protostar. It's definitely a very useful and important tool for the ecosystem. And I can't wait to see how we can use it with Cairo1.
Yeah, also very excited for that. And thank you for the time to speak and tell a little bit, because I'm also really excited to release that things already and hear the feedback from users, because it was, yeah, it was developed under development for some time already, and we are excited to release that. So we're happy for that and hope it will be good. If not, we'll do it. But yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.